Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Happy Monday. And it is book club time. 1 second, 1 second. All right, you guys. So let me make sure everybody knows that we are here on book club. It is Monday and people got to get it together. We gotta grow together. Good evening. We got Shanna. I know it's not evening for you guys, for you and Raynell. You're 3 hours behind us. So it's great afternoon to you all. But good evening to those of us that are on the east, in the south, or on the east coast. Hello, hello, Tedra from Philadelphia. I was just in Philly. Kelly Daly in Canada. As you're logging on, you guys, let's make sure that we are letting people know that we are live. We want to tag and share and let everybody know. We got Robin Owens on the line with us from Flint, Michigan. I call it 5 Mile Flint. You guys, let everybody know that we are live. Book club is live. And I am very excited. And I'm excited because I've been waiting for us to get to these 9 steps. Oh, wait a minute. I almost posted the wrong thing, y'all. I almost posted the wrong thing. So as you're logging on, let me know what city, what state, and or what country you might be logging in from. And I'm hoping that you guys are tagging and sharing, letting people know that we are live here on book club. Copy the link if you can and let people know that we are live, and this is the place to grow together. So I have been excited, and I'm excited because I got to share this to one more platform and then we'll be good. I'm excited because we're getting ready to find out how to raise our standards. We're going to find out the steps necessary to raising our standards. And so I am very excited about that, but I want to make sure that I'm posting this everywhere. I don't think I have the link up everywhere. So y'all let everybody know we're live. I don't want anyone to miss, because they'll say, oh, I didn't know. But I know that we have book club every Monday, the same time. Thank you to those of you who decided to join me in the studio. We'll see if there's a need for me to bring you up to the live. So I hope that book club is live. Tune in with us. All right, y'all. I'm almost done. All right, there we go. So let's post that. Make sure people know that we are live. I see you. South Carolina is in the house. Philly, Philly, Philly. All right. So we're reading The Power of One More by Ed MYLETT. What an amazing read. It's almost difficult even trying to think about where we're going from this book. Alicia, I see that you're in the studio with us. Stacy, hello, sunshine. You know, I'm praying for you all the time, every day. But today we're actually in chapter 10. Chapter 10 is One More Higher Standard. One More Higher Standard. And we're going to now go to the 9 ways to set a higher standard. Has anybody else been looking forward to finishing out this chapter? Because we walked through the first couple of pages and we learned a lot about standards versus goals. So is there anybody else that might be excited about, good evening, Letitia, about this particular chapter and about us finding out what are the 9 ways to set a higher standard? So let's go ahead and dive in. It is 6:04. We don't want to waste any time. 9 ways to set a higher standard. Listen, y'all can grab a glass of wine, grab your coffee, grab some water, grab your detox juice, whatever you need to grab, right? Whatever your choice of beverages, maybe you want some tea, whatever the case may be, grab a notebook and a pen, especially if you don't have the book. But thankfully, we are live on YouTube. This recording will be up in my live recordings. You'll be able to go back and watch and get some notes, jot down some notes. This is a moment of personal growth and development that we do together. Personal growth and development is so important for any facet. It is not just about business, but for any purpose of life. Anything dead belongs in the grave. I want you to write that down. Good evening, Delaware is in the house with us. Carol Jackson. Anything dead belongs in the grave. And so the 9 ways to set a higher standard. Setting clear and defined higher standards in personal, sorry, let me start over. Setting clear and defined higher standards is personal and unique to you. So that's number one. We have to understand that setting standards is personal. Setting standards, I'm going to type this in the chat. Setting standards is personal and unique to you. All right. Good evening. Good evening. Right. And then it says, but there are some universal principles that you can apply that will ensure that you create quality. There's the word quality, higher standards, no matter what your goals are. Here are some things to consider, right? Hey, Flamanica, how are you? Now, listen, I want you all to remember that you heard that part. Setting clear and defined higher standards is personal and unique to you, but there are some universal principles that you can apply that will ensure you create quality higher standards. That's the key. We don't just want to create standards, right, Sean Dunnigan? We want to create quality higher standards. That is important. That was important. We need to know that that's important. Quality higher standards. Number one, we must understand our why. It's what the book says. It is not me. This is all from the book. All right. We must understand our why. Unless you're clear on your motivation, you won't develop optimal standards for your goal. It's a lot different saying, I want to lose 50 pounds because it might be a good idea, instead of, I want to lose 50 pounds because my back hurts. My doctor says I have high blood pressure. I'm borderline diabetic, and I may not live to see my grandchildren. The stronger and the more specific your reasons are for doing something, the more likely you'll stick with your standards. So I think we all just learned something right there, because most times we believe that when we set a goal to lose weight, that it's a goal, it's a standard. Based on what this says, it's a lot different saying, I want to lose 50 pounds because I just want to lose 50 pounds, right? Versus, I want to lose 50 pounds because my back hurts, because my doctor says I have high blood pressure, because I'm borderline diabetic. It's almost like if you've had somebody that has gone on before you, that's died from that has passed away from a specific disease or ailment, then that should give us even more reason to do what's right by setting the standard. The stronger and the more specific your reasons are for doing something, the more likely you'll stick with your standards. Which is, I often say, I hear people say all the time, I would die for my kids. I would die for them. But I don't hear enough people, Letitia, saying, I'm going to live for my kids. But we be quick to die for them. We hear people say all the time, I'll go broke for mine. Let me just read the book. The stronger and the more specific your reasons are for doing something, the more likely you'll stick with your standards. 1, understand your why. So let's type that in. 1, understand your why. No, let's say understand my why. Right? Make it personal. Understand my why. It's number 1. All right. Number 2, break down a higher standard into detailed and achievable steps. So if you know you need to lose 100 pounds, or you have a desire for whatever the case may be, 50 pounds, 100 pounds, you're not going to lose 50 pounds overnight. It's just not going to happen, right? But maybe if you break it down, like I'm going to lose 10 pounds in the next 30 days or the next 45 days. Put a label on it, put a date on it, right? But break it down. How do you eat an elephant? 1 bite at a time. So if you break down a higher standard into detailed and achievable steps, you may not see that you could lose 50 pounds. It might feel like it's way too much. But if you break it down and say, well, I'm going to lose this 10 pounds and put a date on it, then you're not focused on the 50 pounds. You're focused on the 10. And then once you get down to 10, you don't celebrate. See, that's the problem. You don't celebrate because you lost the 10. You keep going because once you lose the 10, you create another standard. All right? So don't say I'm going to get up and run a little while, then lift some weights. Be intentional, meticulous, and specific. Tell yourself, I'm going to run 8 miles 3 days a week. Work with a trainer to create an optimal strength training routine that I'll do 5 days a week. And I'll change my diet to a lean protein and a plant-based menu. Okay? Tell yourself, I'm going to run. Tell yourself what you're going to do. Don't get up every day hoping that you'll make the decision to do something. No, you got to write the vision, make it plain, and tell yourself what you're going to do. Number 3. So number 2 was break down a higher standard into detailed and achievable steps. Number 3, be honest with yourself. If you take on the workout regimen above and you're 55 years old and you weigh 350 pounds, not only are you setting yourself up for failure, you're setting yourself up for a 911 ambulance ride. What's so crazy is the book said it, not me. If you take on the workout regimen above, meaning if you get the trainer to say you're going to run 8 miles 3 days a week and then 5 days a week you're going to do strength training, no, you're going to be calling 911. You can't do that. You can't go from not doing any form of exercise, not having any strength to straight to I'm going to do 8 miles 3 days a week. And no, you can't do that, right? Don't let your ego run your mind when it comes to setting realistic goals and standards. Don't let your ego run your mind. That is so perfect right there. Don't let your ego run your mind when it comes to setting realistic standards and goals. Start at a place that makes sense for you. You can always upgrade your goals and your standards once you start making progress. The problem is, don't allow that to be an excuse either. You got to take the step every single day. You can't be like, oh, well, I'm just, trying to pace myself. And no, because some people go to the extreme and they make an excuse for themselves too. Right? So start at a place that makes sense. You can always upgrade your goals and your standards once you start making progress. Be measured and transparent with yourself when developing your standards. Be what? Be measured and transparent. That's what happened to me when I first went to the gym. There you go. Right? But it says be measured and transparent with yourself when developing your standards. Measured and transparent, meaning be realistic, y'all. You got a if I just lose 20 pounds, no. Some of you know that you've got 100 pounds to lose, right? So be honest with yourself, be transparent with yourself, but then you've got to now measure that. Well, you're not going to lose 100 pounds in 3 months. You're not going to lose 100 pounds in 6 months. But you might want to commit the next year and a half to losing this 100 pounds. Because the healthy way to do it, just to throw this in there, is to lose about 8 to 10 pounds a month. That's pretty much the healthy way to do it. Men typically lose weight faster than women. It's just the way that they're made up, right? So be honest with yourself, but also be transparent. And I'm going to tell y'all something. I remember being almost 300 pounds, and I remember saying dumb things like, well, I like being thick. Lies. And it ain't thick. It's fat. It was fat. We say things like, well, I'm just doing me. Lies. That's excuse for, I don't want to hold myself accountable. No, do I want to challenge myself to get it right? Those are all excuses that we use. Yeah, I'm just doing me. Well, I don't really care what nobody else thinks about me. Good. You shouldn't. But we should be looking in the mirror to say, okay, or we should be saying, okay, what did this say? I'm borderline diabetic. The doctors say I have high blood pressure, and I may not live to see my grandchildren. If that ain't enough, if that isn't enough, I don't know what in the world. Oh, that's another one. We say I'm big boned. It runs in my family. Well, I just love food. I just love to eat. No self-control. So now you got to see what's going on that you have no self-control. Because all of those speak to who we are, right? We have no self-control, right? I did that to cover up how the bad word, right? How bad the words hurt. Tracy, yes, I did that too. So I called it other things, right? So number 4. So we said number 3 was be honest with yourself, right? Be honest with yourself. That was number 3. Number 4. Here's number 4, y'all. Get help in areas where you are weak. Find a workout buddy. Enlist in a seasoned business mentor. Listen to motivational tapes and podcasts. Surround yourself with like-minded people on like-minded journeys. Do whatever it takes to fortify your efforts. There are going to be days and periods where you'll waver. You'll want to give up. That's normal. You may question if your goal is worth it. You may tell yourself that your standards are too high. Welcome to the human condition. This is where mental discipline. Somebody type that in the chat. Mental discipline. Yes, thank you, Tedra. That was number 4. Get help in the areas that you're weak. This is where mental discipline. This is so good. Comes in. Revisit your original motivation. Understand what influences are holding you back, and then eliminate them if possible. Well-intentioned friends, family, and business associates can be your biggest enemies. They are also your greatest allies. Like it or not, you care what they think. Good and bad. They're a part of your inner circle and will consistently influence your thoughts and your actions. It's up to you to filter the messages that are positive and meaningful to you. Don't be swayed to a lesser outcome simply because of familiarity. Well, that was a whole mouthful right there. Because, see, I hear people say things like, I don't care what nobody thinks. I don't care what nobody says. Well, let's undress this. This says well-intentioned friends, family, and business associates. Well-intentioned. See, there is a difference because I'm very hard on people. I'm harder on people that know better. Like I'm harder on people, the ones that come telling me how much they need this to work and what I'm fitting to do and I'm getting ready to do. And so I'm harder on you because I'm a well-intentioned business associate. I'm a well-intentioned friend and or family member. So well-intentioned friends, family, and business associates can be your biggest enemies, but they can also be your greatest allies. Like it or not, you care what they think, good and bad. So for us to act like, I don't care what nobody thinking. Yeah, we do. We do care. We do care, which is why we start acting out. We do care what other people think. Right? Good or bad. They're a part of your inner circle and will constantly influence your thoughts and your actions. It's up to you to filter the messages that are positive and meaningful to you. Here's what I know. This is what I know. Kim, I know that there are some people that being around me, even though they say that this is what they want, and I want a coach, and I want a mentor, and I want a this, and I want a that. No, being around me makes them look at themselves too much. They really don't want to do what they say they want. And so because they really don't want to do it, it's difficult being around me. Stressful. So they can do it for a certain amount of time and then they kind of back down because who we really are shows up. And it's a shame because it's right at the pinnacle of when a person was really getting ready to make a huge shift that they decide to back down. because they start hearing from a different filter, and I don't like what they said, and I don't like this, and I don't like that, and starting to find no accountability for their actions, and then starting to act out, because we typically at that point really don't want to hear it, but we say we want to hear it. So now you're wasting your mentor's time. You're wasting your mentor's time because you really don't want to hear it. You want all the benefits of the success that you see another person having without doing the work. And you think being associated with the person is going to give you what you want without doing the work. So right when you're 3 feet from goal, you retreat, you retract. Because here's the deal. Right when the baby is getting ready to be born, that's when it hurts the most. That's when the contractions get harder. That's when it starts to sting a little more. That's when it feels like you gotta, that's when most people are like, I'm right there. And then all of a sudden, here come the enemy in your head. And now you're in your feelings and you don't hear through the right filters. Worthy goals. Oh, don't be swayed to a lesser outcome simply because of familiarity. So now you've become too familiar with your coach, so you don't listen. You don't listen to them because you start acting like you're equals. You start acting like you're equals because that's just Nina. Nina. That's just Nina. Worthy goals and corresponding standards are not supposed to be easy to reach. Worthy goals and corresponding standards are not supposed to be easy to reach. If it were easy, everybody, everyone would be doing it. If it were easy, everybody would be a size 4 or 2 or 6 or 8, whatever the case. If it were easy, everybody would be rich. If it were easy, everybody would have $1 million sitting in the bank. If it were easy, we would just snap a finger and all the weight would be gone. If it were easy, if it were easy. Worthy goals and corresponding standards are not supposed to be easy to reach. If your willpower wavers, oh my gosh, if your willpower wavers, redouble your efforts and give yourself credit for being smart enough to recognize that you'll have to work harder as part of your process. This is so good. Number 5, use technology to set and maintain your new standards. Use technology to set and maintain your new standards. You know, Robin, I have to set an alarm on my phone for everything. I have to set an alarm to remind me to do certain things, to remind me to stop doing some things, to make sure like, Paige is about to get off the bus. Let me stop doing X, Y, and Z, to be cognizant of the fact that she's getting ready to get off the bus or something like that. I have to set reminders. It's part of my process, but it's because it's also important to me. So I have an alarm set for trainings at 8:00. I have an alarm set for book club on Monday night. I have an alarm set for power hour at 6 a.m. in the morning, whether I'm able to get on or not. Like I was traveling this morning, but I still have an alarm set that went off so that I could at least remind people that it was starting at 6 a.m. So you have to use technology to set and maintain your new standard. Not so long ago, self-improvement gurus preached that you needed to write down your goals, look in the bathroom mirror, and repeat those goals every day. We've come a long way since then to optimize the possibility of being, thank you, Tedra, let me post that one, of being successful. Tap into technology to help you set and maintain your standards. Use your cell phone or computer to create a video of your goals and standards. Talk to yourself. Do it when you're in focus. Do it when you're in a focused, high energy state. Talk to yourself. Make a video. Write it down. Do it when you're in a focused, high energy state. That way, when you play it back, you'll be watching yourself in a peak state every time. Now, see, I'm giving you the tools. I am telling you what to do. But here's the deal, because I'm not on the phone with you one-on-one right now telling you, you probably need to create yourself a video of your goals and your dreams and your desires. But make sure when you record that video that you're literally in your peak state of mind. You want to be on a private call with me. The fact that I'm telling you to do this on a book club right now, that ain't enough. You won't go into action to do it because we're not on a one-on-one call. But I am telling you right now, when you're operating in high frequency and when you're recording yourself in high frequency, you're going to be more likely to relive high frequency peak state all of the time. Unlike only writing down your goals and standards, you'll get the added boost of auditory and visual stimulation sent to your brain. Your brain's synaptic plasticity will improve. And when this happens, your brain is better able to flex and adapt, creating enhanced avenues for learning. You are watching the person that you want to be. Think of it as you 2.0. I'm not stuck. Number 6. We only got 9. We're going to be done soon. Number 6. Give dedicated thought to the relationship between your goal and your standard. Give dedicated thought to the relationship between your goal and your standard. Give dedicated thought to the relationship between your goal and your standard. Now, we've been talking about what goals and standards are. I'm not going to go over that again. You can Google that. You can look up that definition. People reach out to me all the time and be like, can you tell me what such and such means? No, you can look it up. You can look it up. Yeah, this book club, you're right, for real, Marguerite. This is mentorship. And this is actually giving you more than a one-on-one, because I'm going to tell you guys something. In a one-on-one, you couldn't handle me telling you these things personally. You'd be in your feelings. Because most people don't really want to hear the truth. You want me to say things that are going to make you feel good. And nothing that I say that makes you feel good is going to make you good. So Venus and Serena Williams didn't learn to play world-class tennis by going out after school a couple of times a week and playing a friendly match here and there. Both women became, excuse me, highly accomplished tennis players because they spent thousands of hours honing their skills, working on every little part of their game to eventually become legends in the game. They created standards commensurate with their goal of being the best tennis players in the world. When your standard does not match what's required to meet your goal, oh my gosh. When your standard does not match what's required to meet your goal, you won't be properly motivated. My God. I'm going to read that one more. I feel like I need to go live on Facebook with this one. When your standard does not match your goal, when your standard does not match what's required to meet your goal, you won't be properly motivated. I'm going to say that one more time. When your standard does not match what's required to meet your goal, you won't be properly motivated. So I need to lose 100 pounds. But you don't have a standard about what you eat. You just eat whenever you feel like it, how much you feel like it, whatever, how late you feel like it. Standard. Just stuff and stuff and stuff and stuff and think because you eat slow that it's cool. I took my time and ate it. Standard. When your standard does not match what's required to meet your goal, you won't be properly motivated. If you set your standards beneath your capabilities, you won't feel challenged and you'll lose interest. So how many of y'all 90 days in your little brand new business have lost interest? You know why? Because you set your standards beneath your capabilities. And so now you don't feel challenged. So you've lost interest. So you don't even understand that you need to feel challenged so that you stay interested, but you don't want to be challenged. So because you don't really want to be challenged, you've lost interest and now your little business is failing. If you set your standards beneath your capability, so now you've set your standards low. I mean, my team is working, I'm going to just let them do all the work. Leaders lead by example. Not if I don't talk to a person another day, ever, if I don't talk to somebody ever, they would still know what to do because they would watch what I'm doing. That's how you can measure your leadership. Can a team of people or business team, can they operate and function based on watching what you do? Or do you have to be on the phone with hey, I'm just calling to check in? For what? Because if everybody working, there's nothing to check in with. If somebody needs you, they gonna call you. But can they mimic your behavior and have success based off your behavior? If you set your standards beneath your capabilities, you won't be challenged and you'll lose interest. Low standards produce low results. So why bother? Low standards produce low results. I'm going to sip my wine on that one. Low standards produce low results. So why bother? I'm not stuck. Anybody want to come on camera and talk about that? Alicia, Stacy, y'all want to come to camera or no? They just in the back. They just in the studio with me. Low standard. There were some jab uppercuts in this number 5 and 6. Low standards produce low results. So I don't need to have a conversation with people about what they're doing, because I can see that they set the standard low and they hit it. Low standards produce low results. Why bother? Number 7. I'm going to get off of that one because I think everybody like, whoa. Number 7, forget perfection. They had me all in my feelings. This is forget perfection. Number 7. This is an absolute killer. Perfection is the lowest standard that there is. Ow! And realistically, perfection does not exist. Les Brown says it all the time. And he'll say, practice makes what? And what does practice make, y'all? Practice makes what? Practice makes what? So we're sitting around lying, saying things like, well, if I can't do it all the way, I'm just not going to do it at all till I can get it all right. Practice does not make perfect. Practice makes progress. There is no such thing as perfect. If we were perfect, we would be off the earth. So now we're going to sit around, and if I can't do it all the way, if I can't do it perfect, I'm just not going to do it at all. Oh, okay. That's an excuse. Les Brown teaches you that practice makes progress. So, and realistically, perfection doesn't exist. If you want to frustrate yourself and give up, assume that you must be perfect. Even the Williams sisters have lost plenty of matches along the way. Perfection is also boring. It's our flaws that make us interesting, human, and relatable. Everybody has flaws. And those who think that they don't have any are the ones who have the biggest flaws of all. This is so good. I'm sorry, y'all. I thought I had my ringer off. This is so good. Those who think they don't have any flaws are the ones who have the biggest flaws of them all. Number 8, don't overthink it. So we went from 7, forget perfection, to number 8, don't overthink it. Be diligent and thorough. But for goodness sakes, get over yourself and get your butt in gear. I've seen thousands of people become their own worst enemy due to overthinking. I've seen so many people have great ideas for incredible businesses, only to tinker, dabble, focus on the minutia, and fizzle out before they even reach the starting line. Thinking is good, but overthinking is bad. Here's the thing that I want y'all to realize and recognize. For all of you perfectionists, there's a difference. Let me say this. There's a difference between, look, she said, ouch, right? Ouch. There is a difference between perfection and excellence. I hope there's a difference between perfection and excellence. Nobody can be perfect, but we can operate in excellence even if we aren't going to be perfect. So there's a difference. We're not saying don't operate in excellence. You don't come half-assed. So that's not what we're saying. But for all of y'all that can't move because it's got to be all, and you wonder why you can't build or you can't get nobody to follow you, it's because they can't follow your perfect behind. Nothing's out of place, and it's gotta all be done a certain way, right, bruh? No, we ain't perfect, but we can operate at a high standard. Still gonna get it wrong sometime. So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna bring the A game. I may not even win every single time, but I'm still gonna bring the A game. Operate in excellence. Not perfection, but excellence. Here's the problem with that, Tracy. Here's the problem with that, Tamara. The problem is that other people can't do that. They can't follow your little perfectionism. They can't follow your because everything got to be like a certain kind of way before you'll make a move. Now you're wondering what's going on with the people that are supposed to be following. They can't follow that. They can't follow that. So now because you're a little robot, I'm a little robot. I don't have that itty bitty ooh ah. Yes, we should operate in excellence, but nobody can follow perfectionism. And so now you all in your analytical thinking and and that's great that you want to think like that, but it's not great because now can't nobody follow you because you perfect. They like, I can't do that. I can't do that. I listened to a teacher. I went to a conference. One of those conferences that I spent $10,000 for the conference, for the training. That wasn't including the hotel, the ticket to go there, and the flight. I'm sorry, that wasn't including the hotel and the flight and the food. But the training was $8,500, $10,000, right? And Tracy, I go to the event and I think about this lady telling a story about her downline. It was a network marketing training. And she said, when she joined the company, she made these binders for her whole team. Tracy. She's like, I made these binders up and I put everything they needed in the binders and got different color binders and put our team name on it and blah, 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 right? And then she recruited this girl that she knew was going to be a home run hitter, right, Trey? So she recruited the girl, Carol Jackson, and she couldn't figure out why, Tedra, the girl hadn't gotten started moving. And so, a week go by, 2 weeks go by, the girl hadn't done anything. Oh, Trace, she made the binders with all the information in it, right? So that all the information was in one place. She gave him a binder and she called the girl and she said, hey, I'm just, calling to make sure you're okay. I see that you haven't gotten moving or anything. Is there something I can do? Do you not have everything you need? And she said, oh no, you did an amazing job. You gave me everything I need. This binder is very, very thorough. And she's like, I got all these people that I want to sign up, but because I can't do their binders yet, I figured I'm gonna make them wait till I can do their binders. Somebody gonna catch that. Somebody's gonna catch that. She said, I got all these people that I want to put in, but I can't make their binders. Majoring in the minors and minoring in the majors. Thinking is good, but overthinking is bad. Because now you want to treat everybody based on what you need. But that's not duplicable. So when you're wondering what is going on, it's not duplicable. It made her stagnant because she couldn't duplicate that. That little binder wasn't important. Point people in the right direction. She was holding up the progress for perfection. So what are you showing people? Based on what you do, what are you showing people? Number 9, set standards to please yourself. I covered this already, but it bears repeating simply because we're hardwired to please others. Be selfish when it comes to developing your standards. This is your journey. This does not belong to anyone else. It's personal. Keep it that way, or you're just going to waste time, wind up with a big mess you don't buy into, and end up in the worse shape than when you started. I love Rick Pitino's take on the set higher standards for your own performance than anyone around you. And it won't matter whether you have a tough boss or an easy one. It won't matter whether the competition is pushing you hard, because you'll be competing with yourself. I am always competing with myself. What did I do yesterday? What did I do the day before? What did I do the week before? Then go higher. It's amazing how we want to go higher in climax, sexually, intimately, right? We want to go higher in the things we buy for ourselves. We're going to want to go higher in the classes of foods that we eat for ourselves, but we don't want to go higher in who we become. We don't want to go higher. No, that's a problem. It won't matter whether the competition is pushing you hard, because you'll be competing with yourself. Raising standards is an ongoing process. Nobody knows better than you what your standards should be. That said, developing standards isn't always an easy proposition. If you're trying to break out and do something new, you might not have all the tools or the knowledge you need accurately assess what standards you'll need to develop to reach your goals. The good news is they aren't set in stone. People often create standards that they think are in line with what they need to reach their goals. However, as they gain experience and other variables come into play, these dynamics can create a need to dial up to a higher standard. Your standard should be appropriately challenging you. You will grow and change along the way. So you should review your goals and your higher standards regularly. When you've mastered a standard and met your goal, adjust upward. Don't meet that and then like get comfortable and celebrate because, whoo, I did it. I did it. I'm able to lift this 10-pound weight. I'm good. I did it. I lost 10 pounds. Keep going. If you've been diligent in your efforts and something is starting to feel easy, you'll know maybe it's time to set a different goal with different standards once you've accomplished what you want. But for a remarkable difference in your life, consider leveling up by creating a higher standard that will propel you to an even more worthy goal that builds on what you've already done. Also, it's unhealthy to compare yourself or your standards to others. This is your journey and yours alone. Keep it that way. You have no clue what somebody else is going through. Even when they tell you, especially when they tell you, you're only going to hear what they want you to hear. When you compare, you're also tempted to adjust your standards downward to align with someone else's standards. That's unacceptable. It's human nature to compare, but I'm telling you now, don't do it. Consider the alternative. Suppose you compare your standards to someone else's and you discover that their standards are incredibly high when stacked against yours. In that case, you may be setting yourself up for a big psychological disappointment. It's a waste of time and doesn't do one thing to move you closer to your desired outcomes. The only person you should be comparing yourself to is you. The consequences of higher standards. We're going to talk about that. And then we're done. 646. Let me read this and then I'm going to tell you guys a story. Remind me to tell you a story about the move to Georgia. All right. The consequences of higher standards. Change creates consequences. Change creates consequences. Setting higher standards creates consequences. When one more thinkers set a higher standard, you'll experience consequences, good and bad. The good is obvious. When your goals are aligned with your higher standards, you'll enjoy a fuller and more blissful life. When you repeat this process in several areas of your life, you'll experience a powerful transformation. Not only will you treat yourself better, you'll treat others better too. Likewise, others will understand that you have a higher expectation of how you want to be treated, and most will honor that expectation and treat you with added respect. However, some people in your circle will become jealous of your discipline and success. Let me tell y'all something. Let me tell y'all something. However, some people in your circle will become jealous of your discipline and your success. It is crazy when someone becomes jealous of your discipline. Y'all, they not just jealous of when they're jealous of your discipline. Why the hell that Nina, she's always up. She up doing her lives. She got all her reels done for the day. She got these sales in. She going to the gym every day. She her stomach is flat. Her this and that. When they're jealous of your discipline, if they continue to doubt you, remain jealous, or if they can't see that they can share and celebrate your success, you need to reconsider your relationship with those people. They'll get over it soon enough, or as harsh as it may sound, you may need to let them go. As you develop higher standards, you'll also enjoy more resilience. You'll bounce back from setbacks quicker. Your higher standards will become habits and replace the lesser standards that used to guide you. Even if you don't fully succeed, you'll still fail at a higher level and land at a higher baseline. Once you dust yourself off, you'll be in a better place to move on to new goals and other higher standards. Setting higher standards in your life is not easy, but consider the alternative. If you aim low, you set unworthy goals and create uninspired standards, you'll end up living a life far below what you're capable of and far below what you deserve. Boom! That is the end of chapter 10. Next Monday, we will start chapter 11. One more impossibility, thinkers and possibility achievers. One's philosophy is not best expressed in words, it is expressed in the choices that one makes. One's philosophies are not expressed in your words, Sally. They are expressed in the choices one makes. So we can see what your philosophies are, not in what you tell us, but by what you do. The process never ends until we die, and the choices we make are ultimately our own responsibility. Eleanor Roosevelt. One more impossibility thinkers and possibility achievers. Next week, chapter 11. Let me share this with y'all. I was sharing with my Uber driver this morning when I left my son's house, because at 4:30 in the morning, I'm not going to make anybody get up and take me to the airport. I'll catch an Uber. And so I called the Uber. The young lady that picked me up, Afia is her name. She drives a white BMW, picked me up this morning. And great conversation. Normally I want to get in the car and I don't want to talk. They like, oh, so you can't come over? No, I have training. Exactly. No, I can't come. No, I can't. My family know. They know at 8 o'clock. No, I'm on a training. Okay. Matter of fact, when I'm not on a training, they're like, oh, you don't have training tonight? No. So we were talking, and I said, no, well, I'm from Philly, but I moved to Georgia. Tam, and she said, oh, fantastic. She's like, good for you. She's like, I hate Philadelphia. I'm so ready to leave Philly. I hate Philadelphia. She's like, if I could figure out a way to make some more money, some side on the side, I will move to California. Now, most of y'all think that I jumped on her right then. She said that right in the beginning of the ride. If I could earn more income on the side, I'd move to California. That's where I really want to move to. I said, what do you do? So I started asking her a lot of questions. Well, what do you do? Now, I could tell that she had dogs because when I went to put my suitcase in her trunk, there were 2 doggy beds. So I knew she was a dog mom. She says, I'm a notary. I do notary. And I also own some properties. I have 2 tenants. I have 2 properties, 2 homes, 2 houses. And I see, because too many of y'all ready to try to introduce her to what you do. All I did was ask a bunch of questions at that point, because now I need some leverage. I need to know what she needs. She was a younger person, so instead of introducing her to the health and wellness side, I introduced her to Delta 9, right? When I was getting out the car, I have her information. She called me. I have her number. She's in my Uber app, right? So I said to her, she said, what made you move to Georgia? I said to her, I was operating on autopilot and life was no longer a challenge. So God hadn't pulled the rug from up underneath my feet. So I pulled the rug from up underneath my feet so that I could grow, so I could go back down to the bottom so that I could climb back up. So, Nina, you willingly put yourself in the fire. Yes, I did. I willingly put myself in uncomfortable territory. I willingly put myself in a position where I didn't know where it was coming from. Willingly did it because I was operating on autopilot, where life felt like I could literally just take my foot off the gas and still operate. And do you know that there will be people that are jealous of the fact that you're not afraid to take the risk and get up and just move and leave? Because there are so many people that are scared that they can't land again, that they would rather stay on a dead-end job, making no money, frustrated, So if you mad and frustrated anyway, what's the point? Go, at least go somewhere else and be happy. I wanted to be in a different environment. I wanted to meet new people with a different mindset. I wanted to be in a right. So I say all that to say that chapter just lit fire to my soul, because I'm living this book. Living this book. Faith is an action word. And I mean, did I know whether I was going to like Georgia or not? No. So we moved out to the suburbs. You don't have to live in the city. But I needed to be around different people. I needed to be with, there just needed to be more. There was more to life than sitting in Philadelphia. And why do we get, that's like, you go to the same church all your life. You sit in the same seat all your life. Your name is, they know nobody else better not sit in your chair. A visitor better not come and sit in your seat. I was listening to a young lady today, y'all. And then I don't know if anybody wants to come to the studio to talk before we go, because we're actually done, right? I was listening to a young lady today. She talked about the power of energy and the power of connections and relationships. And she said, if you go to a church and everybody broke in your church, she said, you better get up out of that church. That is an energy. All right, I'm done. I love y'all, and there's nothing you could do about it. I hope that you guys were blessed like I was. Woo! This was heavy, right? This was heavy. It was heavy. It was heavy. It was heavy in a good way. It was heavy. Y'all put down in the chat some of your biggest takeaways from today. Thank you, Alicia and Stacy. It's so good to see you back here in the studio with me again this week. What's your biggest takeaway from this week, you guys? So for those of you, the whole chapter was heavy. It was heavy. Heavy in a good way. This was so good. All right. So if you watched it live, you can type a 1. Let us know you were live. If you're coming back to watch the replay, then hit a 2 and let me know that you came back to watch the replay. I do go through the comments every now and again just to see who might have been live versus watching the replay. I read to you every Monday, and I'm now learning the StreamYard. If I can't physically be with you, I'm still able to record it and play it live, right, on Mondays at 6 p.m. So this was really, really great, you guys. And I pray that it empowered you like it has empowered me. We will start chapter 11 next week. We're reading The Power of One More by Ed MYLETT. All right, Ed MYLETT. So this was so good. So good. Right? So good. So listen, no matter what you're going through in life, you have to remember that you can live again, laugh again, hope again, dream again, and you most certainly can bling again. I need you all to have a bling-tastic rest of your evening, a bling-tastic week. Pay it forward. Do a good deed. Be kind to one another, and subscribe. Subscribe to Bling TV 3765. You never know what kind of information I'm going to have, shared for you in the video library for you all. But subscribe and share this with somebody else so that next Monday you bring someone back with you guys. All right, now, I love y'all, and there's nothing you can do about it. We over and we're out.